here, just going to call one incoming Cathaoirleach Lasair Dhearg to give the chairpersons address.
I want to start off, first of all, folks, with thanks to all those who contributed to today's Ard Fheis during both the closed and the open sessions. Significant work took place over many weeks and indeed months to ensure that both parts of the day were successfully concluded. Thanks also to all those who travelled great distances to be here from across the 6 and 26 counties and indeed internationally. Today's event, Lasair Dhearg's inaugural Ard Fheis, marks a truly significant step in the development of our organisation. Our initial gathering of just a handful of community and political activists in late 2017 culminated in the formation of what would become Lasair Dhearg the following year. Conscious of the path that we intended to follow and the development of a genuinely socialist and republican movement of activists, we carefully laid the ideological foundations over a 2-year period before opening the organisation up to accept new members in late 2019. Very quickly, we found that even as the COVID crisis hit and lockdowns and restrictions on movement of people were put in place, there was a significant appetite for our politics, our methods of organising, and the type of activism that we carried out. We knew from the offset that we wanted this organisation to play as significant a role as possible in the rebuilding of credible republicanism, and in doing so, that an opportunity existed, provided that we could play that role, where we can ensure that the future of republicanism was definitively socialist. In order to do that, we've taken great care that those joining our organisation are themselves credible and that they have the confidence in their own socialist republican worldview, aligning well with others in the organisation. Consequently, although there are of course comrades with many years of experience over many different periods of our struggle, we found that the overwhelming majority of our membership from Belfast, Dublin, Kilkenny, Derry or anywhere in between are from younger generations. From the very beginning, we decided that we would not focus on building structures, but that organisationally we would focus primarily on comradeship with others and the sharing of our own collective outlook through propaganda and activism, and that in doing so, the organisation would build itself, and that's what's happened. We didn't care how long it might take, so long as we did it properly, again with comradeship and credibility. And I'm very glad to say that today, during a closed session at Ard Fheis, our membership formally adopted a number of changes to, alongside the formal adoption of, our Bunreacht Lasair Dhearg. This constitution, formally adopted, comes during a very timely period, as we now feel comfortable enough and confident enough to create a new Cultúrlann that will steer the organisation alongside being held to account by our activists. This new governing executive, proposed by and elected by our general membership, will see many organisers take up new roles within the organisation. In the coming weeks, local branches will elect their own representatives to this new national executive, bolstering a strong team of organisers. Collectively, we're now looking forward to the year of activism ahead of us. Additionally, I want to publicly announce here today that some 18 months ago, a number of our members raised the need to have a formal position on the issue of immigration in the Ireland. This set in course a series of internal discussions on the issue and identified a clear need to analyse and provide a context within which immigration in the Ireland occurs, and alongside that, the impacts or benefits immigration may have upon the current capitalist economic system and its component parts, including housing, healthcare, employment and more. This conversation culminated in a fairly comprehensive document, analysing and laying out clear facts and concluding with a socialist republican position. That policy document, titled Immigration, Capitalism and Imperialism in Ireland, was agreed by general membership today at Ard Fheis and will be formally launched at a public meeting to be announced in the coming weeks. And it's worth noting that the production of this document also comes at a timely moment, given the current growth of anti-immigrant rhetoric, misleading information and attacks on minority communities across both failed states in Ireland. It's no coincidence that the prevalence of racist attacks and propaganda occurs alongside the growth of openly racist and fascist organisations on this island. As Socialists and Republicans, our anti-fascist politics are clear, and in the coming year and beyond, we hope the launch of this document will significantly contribute to countering many of the arguments put forth by those who, knowingly or otherwise, align with this growing fascist tendency. There is much to be done in this regard, and our activists will continue to work alongside and network with other anti-fascists across the island. For much of the past year, a significant proportion of our activism has focused on international solidarity with the Palestinian people. The events of October 7th, 2023 in Palestine will be remembered by generations to come, and indeed the genocide and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people after it. All right-thinking anti-imperialists from across the globe watched in awe on that day as thousands of Palestinians in a highly coordinated military operation rose up against an illegal occupier and sought to rid their land of a colonial entity. They navigated by road, by ditch, and even took to the skies, using whatever means were at their disposal. By close of day, the image of armed Palestinian volunteers on paragliders became a new symbol for revolutionaries across the globe. In light of the fact that the leaders of other supposedly anti-imperialist political organisations and mainstream political parties in Ireland outrightly condemned the operation alongside calls for a two-state solution, we want to make our own position crystal clear. We support the right of the Palestinian people to use whatever means at their disposal to rid their land of an illegal occupation. The people of Palestine have a legal and a moral right to resist. We do not condemn them, we support them. What we do condemn are calls for a two-state solution as a resolution to the conflict in Palestine. Supporting such a solution would be to support the partition of another country and would only serve to extend that conflict into future generations. If lessons in this regard are needed, Ireland is a case in point. Our position on this is also clear, and I reiterate it here today. We support a one-state solution. That is the complete eradication of the Zionist, colonial, apartheid state of Israel, an end to the furtherance of imperialist objectives in the region, and the free Palestine from the river to the sea. And there is much change happening across the world at present, not just in Palestine. The current world order is in a state of flux, and we are witnessing the gradual realignment of global power as a new and multipolar world beckons. The end of the age of Western imperialism is upon us, and we may yet witness its inevitable demise. In Ireland, the Socialist Republic may be many long years from now, but change is also at hand. Revolutionary Irish republicanism is not in the position it was just some years ago. A once revolutionary movement has been wholly absorbed into the state apparatus in both the 6 and 26 county states. Their journey to the corridors of power has not delivered on their promises. Indeed, the promise has itself been slowly diluted along those ever-extending corridors, riddled with corruption and nepotism. Amongst the greatest of their misdeeds was that, in their failure to achieve the revolutionary objectives of the Irish people, they abandoned and criminalised not just those who gave their lives and liberty in the fight for the Irish Republic, but they condemned future generations to the inevitable confrontation with those who will not let us live freely in our own land. Indeed, Ireland unfree shall never be at peace, and we know this to be true because Pearse told us when he stood over the grave of Jeremiah O'Donovan Rossa just months before the Rising of 1916. And Pearse knew this to be true also because he was informed by history. Those that have consigned us to the path that we now must take cannot now say that they did not know of this inevitability. For before they walked the halls of power, they stood here at podiums like this, reading the words of Patrick Pearse. They have condemned my generation and those after it to do what they did not. We must approach this fact not with bitterness, but with an acceptance of the reality that we are now presented with, and with great hope for the future. We need only to look around rooms like this here today to see that future generations are not content with the status quo. Accepting also, as we must, that the aims and objectives of socialist republicanism will likely not be achieved in the short to medium term, we must now look to the future. For what we do in the here and the now may well decide how future generations achieve these objectives. The failure of many Republican projects, floundering on the rocks of electoral intervention or other strategies, necessitates a reanalysis of the current state of play. Our current view is that no amount of intervention in the state electoral apparatus will help realise our objectives, or indeed to build a movement that can bring them about. This may also apply to other strategies, because before any strategy can be implemented, we must take the time now to carefully build a movement that can bring whatever strategic path is chosen to a successful close, even if that means that it will be future generations that will make those difficult decisions. And if indeed that is the case, we must ensure that they are well equipped to do so, providing them the means, the material, the skills, the structures and the confidence to do so. Rebuilding republicanism, that is the immediate objective, and this will only be achieved with comradeship and credibility. An Irish Socialist Republic is inevitable. The people in this room, and indeed many more outside of it, get to decide how soon we bring it into existence. Chairpersons, Dhearg, agus